We are live, baby. The shift is here. I got my new background. Nick Earnshaw's got his new background. Nick, can you hear me loud and clear? Just first of all, can you hear me loud and clear? I'm using my Rode microphone. I'm testing it out. Sound okay?
Yeah, it sounds great, dude. It sounds fantastic. We both have a couple of different backdrops, I guess, right? And a couple
Right.
different microphones. We're like in new studios.
I feel like I'm shining right now, man. Look, the light's perfect right under me. I'm literally right under the light. You know what I'm saying? I'm right under the light. I got this backdrop I've had for like 5 years. I was like, you know what? While I did that Billy Wagner video that you all watched the other day, I was like, what if I put this behind my couch? Maybe this would look pretty decent. I think it looks good. You know what I'm saying? I think it looks good for the show. But most importantly, the show. So I think so.
I think it does. Listen, I like it. I think it looks fantastic. You look good. I look good. I mean, mine will be better at some point. It'll be better at some point, but we'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Maybe I'm a little too comfortable back here too. I'm on my couch. Like, I'm not too comfortable. I don't know. I feel like I can kick my feet up a little bit though, man. My takes have been better than yours for what, 2 years now? For 2 years on the show? Like
Relax.
I'm a little pissed about the MLB The Show cover. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say I'm pissed. That's a lie. I wouldn't say I'm pissed. But we're doing 3 players in the cover. I don't know, man. For a 20th year anniversary, could have done something like a throwback to David Ortiz. He was on the first cover. You weren't even born yet. I had the game. I was playing it. You know what I mean? MLB 06, the show. You weren't born yet. You were born about 5 years later. So here we are.
Listen. I think it's one of the best covers they've ever come out with, by the way.
Well, I know. I knew as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's an Earnshaw
Such a great cover. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
And maybe, honestly, just how the NBA, I think, stepped in and they just wanted to, shake it up. And they're like, hey, Pelinka, we're going to give you Luka. You just got to give up AD. He said, yeah, why not? And just like that, I think you infiltrated Major League Baseball and said, hey, you went up to Rob Manfred. You said, hey, I know it's your 10th year, but listen, the shift we have needs. And you said, I need my 3 favorite players in the cover. And I think you had something to do with it.
Yeah. You think I had something to do? Really? I mean,
yeah, I think you're feeling yourself. You're on your own now. You moved out. You feel good. You're thriving. You're at the presidential debate. You're doing well at your job. You're in magazines. Like, you're doing all this stuff. You're just getting on your high horse. You know what I mean? And you're like, hey, Rob, I think even though you have nothing to do with that, will be the show cover. I need something done. You know what I mean? So anyway,
that was on purpose.
Are you doing okay?
That was on purpose by you. I'm doing fantastic. No, listen. If I could have had any say, maybe they did. Maybe listen to the show. Maybe Rob listens to the show. And he was like, I got to make Nick happy some way, somehow. I'm going to put all 3 of them on. All 3 of them on the cover.
And we'll
Cruz. I mean, Paul Skenes. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Hey, look, we'll get into it. All 3 great choices. I just don't know how I feel about the 3. I just think it's a little forced. But we'll get to it in a little bit. We got to talk about Paul Skenes in regards. He was on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
He was.
Talking about this baseball card. That was awesome. And he Skenes to be a little more, I know he doesn't have a huge personality like that. He lets his work speak for himself on the mound. I get that. But a little disappointed by the interview. But it is what it is. Paul Skenes is going to be Paul Skenes. And that's what you want from, anybody to be themselves. So, Nick, we're going to start with somebody I mentioned here, someone that you hit up, a couple of days ago to get your MLB The Show cover, Rob Manfred. So, I don't know if this necessarily flew under the radar. I don't think obviously like who really cares at the end of the day, but it is true. Rob Manfred, it is 10 years on the job. I think about a week ago that he has been commissioner, and a lot has happened in his tenure. It's been 10 years, and a lot has happened between, the 2017 Astros scandal, which is still, to me, wasn't a great look on his resume, how he handled that. But there's been that. There has been many other things that have gone on through Manfred's tenure as commissioner. The All-Star jerseys going out, being out of, and Earnshaw is back, or is he not? I don't know. Earnshaw is having trouble. I don't know, because he was freezing. But Rob Manfred, and now Earnshaw is connected. I think there you are. You all right, bud?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're okay there. But did you need me to circle back there with Manfred or no?
No, you're good.
Okay. Either way. But Nick, a lot has happened in his tenure. Most notably, the 2017 Astros thing, I think. Probably the rule changes as well. I would say the rule changes are a big part of his resume. And maybe blackouts too. I don't know. Have the blackouts thing that's pretty much been a part of his tenure, right? I don't think that was the thing back.
I would say it is. I would say it is.
I would say it's a big thing with Manfred. So a lot has happened in Manfred's tenure. So how would you maybe you can give me a grade. I know I didn't put this in like the show prep or anything like that, but I don't know, give me a grade. How do you think Rob Manfred has done as commissioner in his 10 years? He's set to retire in 2029, I believe it is. So he's got another 5 years on the job. But do you think in a decade, hits that milestone of a decade on the job, how do you evaluate the job he has done?
Yeah, if I had to give a grade on him, I'd give him probably a C-. A C-. He's done a few nice things for the game. Okay, that's fine. The pitch clock has been huge, so I will give him credit on that. But there is a multitude of things that he has done that I can't agree with. The Oakland A's situation I thought has been an absolute disaster, and I think he's part of the problem with that entire situation going on out there in California. Now they're moving to Vegas. They're in a AAA park now for a couple of years. He has stuff to do with that. Obviously, John Fisher does, but Rob Manfred's involved with that as well. The pitching injuries, the way the game's gone, they're running rampant still. There really hasn't been any ideas maybe to fix it from the commissioner's office. I think that's part of it as well. There's still a high number of strikeouts. The game itself, I think there's still very much a lot of problems. I do not like the way he handled the COVID situation. That was an absolute atrocity, the way they handled trying to get the game back. So I thought that was horrible by Rob Manfred. When he made the comment about the trophy itself, that was frustrating too.
Bad luck.
Yeah. I mean, the fact like making like it seemed like it doesn't mean anything. A piece of metal, really? You're gonna call the trophy a piece of metal?
That was very bad luck. Horrible luck.
Horrible.
You can make all the monies for the owners that you want. That's not look. That's not a good look for you.
No, none whatsoever. So I think there's a lot of things he has left on the table. But there's been some positive, I guess, during his tenure. The ratings were back up this year as well. I think the issues with free agency have been bad as well. I think that's like just a dead zone of the year. And I think you could draw so much more interest. The marketing of players, it's getting better, I guess, but I'm just not completely impressed with his 10 years as owner. I think he's made massive mistakes. And one of the most important was the Houston Astros. I don't think that he laid down the law enough for the cheating scandal. So I'll give him a C- to be nice. But there's so many more issues and that could have been fixed that he didn't fix. And he just seems like your typical business guy who really does not care about the game.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like, look, I guess he's got to do what he's got to do to serve his owners, right? So I understand that to a certain extent. So, look, as a fan's perspective, do we really care about that? No. But look, that is a part of what the commissioner is supposed to do, what his job entails. So understand that. The only thing there, you mentioned a lot of things there, and that I think are great points. I would say for me, I guess a C. I guess, and only because of the rule changes. Like that's really like, and I'm not giving them any like props for finally bringing the All-Star game jerseys back. Like, it should have never happened in the first place. Like, it was a bad idea to begin with. Like, cool, you finally brought it back after all these years. We were never going to get those years back that we had to see I think it was the one that was at Dodger Stadium where they had like the black and gold jerseys. Like, those were horrible. We're never going to get those years back, all right? So Manfred, I don't care about that. But I will say this. Out of all the bad things that he's done, it would have been an F, be honest. Probably would have been an F or a D, being nice. But the rule changes, I do think, make his job look a little better than he has done in recent years. Because I think the pitch clock has helped the game. I do think the pitch clock has helped the game for the younger generation. And honestly, like, I think as a fan, I like it too. Like, I think 2.5 hour games are good for baseball, and it gives me more time to be able to watch other games as well when I'm watching the Phils or something like that. But I do think it's better overall for the sport to have the pitch clock, the shift rule. We had something to do with that, obviously. The shift rule, the pitch clock. I mean, you should be thanking Rob Manfred for your boy Ellie stealing however many bases it was last year, because they widened the bases. I mean, it's Ellie, it's Acuna. I mean, Acuna's not having a 40-70 season if it wasn't for Rob Manfred. Let's be real. Ellie's not going to break, rest in peace, Ricky Henderson's record if it's not for Rob Manfred. It's real. So, look, I think those aspects of the game, the rule changes, I do think is a big thing. Doesn't mean he gets all the way to an A+, because the Astros scandal, like you said, he could have done a lot more on those players, to even if there were other teams that cheated, and there definitely were. Doesn't matter. They got caught. You got to do you got to do something a little more than, I don't even know what they did. So what did they take away draft picks? Like, I don't even know what they did. I forget. Like, that's the point. Like, you got to make that a little more of a big deal, and you got to lay down the law there. So there's that. The blackouts, like that's got to be a better thing for the fans. I mean, he's talked about that he wants to make it more accessible for fans to be able to watch these games. Well, it hasn't happened yet. I'm going to get my another MLB TV package, Earnshaw, and I'm not going to be able to watch all these, but be able to watch some of these games because we'll be blacked out. And that is a Rob Manfred problem. All right. So at the end of the day, I do think the rule changes thing for me make it a little more okay. You did an okay job at best. I will go C.
Yeah, and listen, he added the designated hitter as well.
True.
So in the National League. So I'll give him credit for that. I'll give him credit for the pitch clock. I can't stand the ghost runner. That's an absolute abomination to the game of baseball. I cannot believe we're still doing that. That should have never, ever stayed the ghost runner in extra innings. Never should have stayed. So I'm still frustrated with that. Listen, I like the way they've added stealing bases into the game again by not allowing pitchers to go over after a certain amount of time to first base or trying to pick somebody off. So I like that a lot. But when it comes to just all the other stuff surrounding it, the Oakland A's situation, the way that they handle COVID, that was a really, really big mistake, I think, from Rob Manfred. The way they couldn't get the game back. While all the other leagues figured it out, they couldn't figure it out. I thought that was an atrocity to let it go on for as long as it did. So I'm not. And the Astros thing, I think, is a massive part of this. Now in 2026, collective bargaining is up again, right? They're gonna have to negotiate and hopefully stage off a lockout. But that's going to be fascinating to watch, because that's going to be a big part of his tenure too. Because that's one of the positives. No, it has not been locked out. That Major League Baseball has not been locked out under his tenure. So 2026 going to be fascinating as well. But yeah, I'm going to give him a C-. You almost get to D, but I'll give him a C- because the pitch clock, I think, really has helped the game.
Yeah, it's helped the game, and I think younger generation. I think people are talking about the sport a little more due to these things. So Rob Manfred should get some credit there. But again, look, gonna buy my MLB TV package this year, Earnshaw. And maybe I just don't want to click on a game and be like, well, I paid this much for this and I can't watch this game. That doesn't make any sense. So that still is a thing for me. But let's move on. By the way, that is our Twitter poll for our show, which you can follow the shift _media. And our Twitter question is in regards to Rob Manfred. You can go follow us there. How would you describe Rob Manfred's tenure as commissioner over his decade on the job? You literally pick good or bad. There's no in between. If you want to comment and add the comment and say why it's neither of those, do it. I'll take the comments.
I would comment. I would be one to comment.
You would be on. What would you comment? Just be
fine.
Like, okay.
Fine.
Huh?
Fine.
Fine. Yeah.
I even think that's too nice. I even think that's a little too nice, to be honest. If we're being real, I don't. I think that's a little too honest, or too nice, I should say.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to look at it from the most, I guess, objective way we can look at it. As much as Rob Manfred doesn't have the most sparkling personality, calling World Series trophy a piece of metal. I get it. Oh. But by the way, Sacramento has just traded De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs for Zach LaVine. I know we're not a basketball show, but I thought that was a pretty big trade. Not as big as last night, which I think we'll just go right in the meat and potatoes, Nick. Right in the meat and potatoes. And let's get straight to we got to mention it, Nick. I mean, we already mentioned it in the open, which is I can't believe. I'm still in shock. I'll be real with you. I'm still in shock. Luka Doncic is an LA Laker.
Yeah.
Could it be an inside job by the NBA? I don't think so. This is the first time I ever thought about a conspiracy theory in the NBA. First time I ever really thought about it and gave it a little bit of thought. Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. Screw the Utah part of it and screw all the other players. Luka for AD. Unbelievable. Still in shock.
Yeah.
Still in shock. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I did not see this happen live. It happened like probably around midnight-ish.
Yeah, you were asleep.
I was asleep.
You're old man now.
I was getting my beauty sleep, and I wake up, and I had all these notifications on my phone. I'm just like, what the heck's going on? Something must have happened. And I just kept reading them, and I saw the tweet where Shams had to repost his tweet with all of it and saying, yes, this is real. I'm not literally that to let people know he hadn't been hacked. That people did not believe what happened. So this crosses the spectrum on all sports, as one of the most shocking trades in sports history.
Yeah.
So I was stunned. I think most sports fans were stunned to see this go down like that, because that doesn't happen. Superstars being traded mid-season at Luka Doncic's age, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it does not happen at all. I think I would be remiss, Nick. We're gonna get into this as far as baseball trades go in a second. I want to talk about shocking baseball trades. I don't think there's one. I don't know. Gretzky left the Oilers, went to the Kings. I don't know if that was a trade. But as far as all-star, superstar for superstar, the way Luka should have been a Maverick probably for life. Let's be real. He probably should have been a Maverick for life.
He was the heir to Dirk, Fran. He was the heir to Dirk.
Not probably. He should have been a Maverick for life. The guy is one of the faces of the NBA, scoring champion last year, just went to the finals. This guy has been literally the next generation after, Kobe, LeBron, even Steph's still playing. But you know what I'm saying? He's one of the, it's Luka, it's Tatum, it's these guys. And Luka's a huge part of that. He's the, huge part of, the game growing overseas and growing over here in the NBA overall. So I think, Nick, I don't think it's really an understatement to say that probably it's the most shocking trade in sports history. I think it is.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I was doing some research today and just kind of looking around at different trades across the spectrum of sports, and man, I can't think of another one. And then if this were Major League Baseball, right, Rojas, like this would be the equivalent of I'm trying to think. I guess trading a Paul Skenes for a Bryce Harper, right? Is that like a
Yeah,
decent comp?
so I'm thinking AD is what, 32, somewhere
31,
around there.
31.
Skeen's a rookie, so I'm not even gonna. I wouldn't say Skeens. I'm thinking of
But
like who's somebody that's been in Major League Baseball for a couple of years, is like super young. I know it's different because NBA players will come right out of
but Skenes is a top pitcher in the league. You know what I mean? Like this is a
True,
top
true, true. No, I know.
3
I'm
to
just saying
5
Skeens
player.
literally just right. I'm thinking maybe would it be? I mean, Soto's 26, right?
Yeah, so like Soto for Harper, right?
Soto for Harper, yeah. I think that's a good comparison. If it was Juan Soto for Bryce Harper,
mid-season trade deadline, like that's crazy.
Yeah, insane. I think that's actually a good comparison. I saw there's another good one, which involves Harper again. Someone I think talking baseball from John Boy. Someone I think it might have been Flaherty, the Jack Flaherty, who said Tatis for Harper, which is probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
So same strat,
Yeah.
I would say Soto's a bit more of a, comparison to Luka as far as MLB to NBA.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But
I mean that's how but the fact that we're likening it to a player of like Juan Soto's caliber and Harper, like that's essentially what you're getting. Like AD still a very, very good player.
Yeah.
Really good. All
NBA last year, right?
So he's still really good, but he's 31. Like he's on the back end of his prime. And he has some injury problems. Bryce Harper in his 30s now, back end of his prime. He's a big TikToker. We all know that. So like this is how we're likening it. I know. I couldn't help myself. But yeah, I mean that's where we're at with this type of trade. Like this is something that crosses generations, it crosses sports. Of something that of this magnitude. I mean, you're going to see comparisons that the one we just made. So that's how crazy this thing is.
Yeah, and so I know that was a good tangent to go off of. We didn't plan that, but we originally planned was Nick. Give me some. Maybe I'll start here. Some shocking trades in MLB history, because again, I don't know if there's one that I already said this pretty much. It's not going to be one that touches what Luka and AD, what we saw with last night. But I still think there were some shocking trades in MLB history. The first one that I think of that comes to mind for me, Nick, is, and I know it's not necessarily like, it wasn't like all MLB or, MVP for MVP straight up or anything like that. But Mookie Betts should have been a Boston Red Sox legend for life. And he wasn't. The Red Sox, for whatever business reason, decided it was not the right thing to do to sign or re-sign Mookie Betts and give him, a lifetime extension, which is pretty much what he got with the Dodgers. For Mookie, February 10th, by the way, February 10th, 2020, coming up on the 5-year anniversary of that trade. Red Sox traded Mookie, David Price, and cash to Dodgers for Alex Verdugo, Jeter Downs, and Connor Juan. Again, like the biggest names there are Mookie and David Price. And the biggest name on the Red Sox side was Mookie. The biggest name on the Dodgers side was Verdugo. Not the same as, AD for Luka, but it was pretty shock. Just as far as like shock value goes, like a team like the Dodgers, just like the Lakers now with Luka, the Dodgers get Mookie. Mookie has now won 2 World Series since the Dodgers got him. That was, the Red Sox should have had Mookie for life. Didn't really make any sense. And Mookie goes to the LA Dodgers, and he's there, and he's still, he's a shortstop now, but still, like Mookie has been, one of the biggest superstars in Major League Baseball, and he should have been doing it with the Boston Red Sox, and it made 0 sense at the time for the Red Sox to do that. So Mookie's my first one. What do you got?
Yeah, that's a great one. I gotta go back like early 2010s, the offseason. Prince Fielder for Ian Kinsler. I thought that was a stunner at that time. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Prince Fielder being traded. I thought that was a massive, massive deal at the time. 2013, the Tigers trading Prince Fielder to the Rangers for Kinsler. At that time, Prince Fielder was 29 years old. He missed one game in 5 years, and he was batting 295 around that time with the Tigers. And then to be traded to Texas, crazy. And Kinsler was an all-star level player too. I mean, he was fantastic with Texas. So like that trade, I mean, you can't make that up. Like, so that one was a shocker for me. The fact that you had this superstar in Prince Fielder, because at the time he was a big time player, had all those great years in Milwaukee and then in Detroit. But then to trade him to the Rangers before his age 30 season, I thought that was crazy. And then for Ian Kinsler, I mean, that kind of sent shock waves around the league. And we know that Prince Fielder had the neck injuries, et cetera, after that. So that one was a fascinating one. That was a stunner to me because of the star level of both those players. And then Kinsler being with Texas for so many years. That was crazy.
Yeah, that's a good one. Other one for me, I'll just give you two. Maybe you want to give me one more too. A-Rod to the New York Yankees. Still a big one. Alfonso Soriano for A-Rod was a big deal. And he was almost going to be, can I say Boston Red Sox? You could say, okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I feel like it's not right to say that, but also at the same time, I feel like people have said that. So I just want to make sure that I'm trying to be professional. What can I say? They call me Mr. Professional, so I got to make sure I'm being professional. But all that to say, there was a time where A-Rod was about to go be a Boston Red Sox, and that would have been ginormous in itself. I think I'm talking about like Garcia Parra for A-Rod. I think that's what it was. I don't even know. That's a pretty big one too. Talking about swapping franchise players. But it ended up being A-Rod, the Yankees, doing it once again, getting Alex Rodriguez, only winning World Series during his time, by the way. So congrats to them. And A-Rod cries about that one World Series that he had. He's cried about it pretty much every 2 weeks since he's retired. So congrats to A-Rod. I like A-Rod. I don't even know why I'm doing this. What am I doing? I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything. I don't know. But like, I'm tired of it. A-Rod clearly is so emotional about that one ring that, and Jeter has like 6. Like, who cares? I don't even know. Nick, I don't even know where I'm going with this. But all I have to say, that was a big trade. A-Rod to the Yankees, Alfonso Soriano to the Rangers. By the way, I think Soriano had a 40-40 season with the Nationals, I believe it was, right? Or was it with the Rangers? I forget. I don't know. But that was a big one. A-Rod going from the Rangers where he had to sign that big contract. And it was like, no, I want to go somewhere where I can win. And it ended up being with the New York Yankees. So that's my other one.
I love it. Well, I kind of went off script a little bit, and I wrote this one down. It was an interesting article that came out at the end of December on MLB.com of 10 strangest trades in MLB history. And I wanted to give you one regarding Lefty Grove. George Earnshaw and him, they played together for a while, the Philadelphia A's. Lefty Grove was traded for a fence, Francisco. Could you imagine that?
I saw that. Yeah, I was looking at weird ass trades. That was that.
Isn't that insane?
For a fence?
So I will read. This is according to MLB.com. Grove pitched 6 games for the Martinsburg Mountaineers of the Blue Ridge League in 1920. He was sold to the Baltimore Orioles of the International League in June of that season for the sum of $3,500. The cost to replace Martinsburg's outfield fence, which had been leveled by a storm. The Orioles had Grove until selling him to the Philadelphia A's in 1925 for $100,600. $600 more than the Yankees paid for Babe Ruth. He ended up winning 300 games in his career and 9 ERA. Titles at the end, it says no word if the fence did hold up. So that one's a strange. I did not know that they paid for a fence for that. That's a crazy. That you don't see that too often anymore. You don't see it too often anymore. So,
you don't see it for a fence.
At least Luka Doncic wasn't traded for a fence.
No, some would say he was.
Some may say he was.
I would say. Hey, wasn't what? I don't think was Babe Ruth a shocking trade. Red Sox to Yankees.
Now
I don't know enough. I mean, I know you think I was around because you think I'm old, but
I mean, you
I was
were.
not
You
around.
are 30, so
Yeah.
that was around your time, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak to it. I'm sure. I mean, we still talk about it, right? That they sold, like the Red Sox sold him. It was a long time ago, 105 years ago, actually, on January 5th. Was the date. Yeah, yeah. I just that is one I think will go down in history. So I think you do have to consider the Babe in that realm as well,
Yeah.
because of, I mean how big time it was, and that it's still talked about, and it changed the course of history in baseball. I mean that move changed the game forever. I mean, it really did.
100%. 100%. All right, Nick. So those are shocking trades. Going off of the Luka to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, who is now a Dallas Maverick and who's going to be playing with Kyrie Irving. So it's going to be really, really interesting. Maybe this is what the NBA needed, and that's what they get. So, but keeping in Major League Baseball, Nick, not as big of a one, but future Hall of Famer Max Scherzer signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. Seemingly seemed like Toronto was going to be the favorite. That's what I think Mark Feisan, MLB.com's Mark Feisan, had reported. And Max Scherzer ends up with the Toronto Blue Jays, Nick. So I think overall here, they get Santander, they got Jeff Hoffman, they got Andres Jimenez at the beginning of the offseason. I don't know, Nick, it's going to be an interesting American League East. I think the Yankees have had a really underrated potentially off season, but it's going to be an interesting American League East this year. The Orioles didn't do much this off season. The Rays are always a question mark. Who knows? But I don't know, Nick. The Red Sox have had a good kind of an interesting off season as well. What do you think this move now does for Toronto? Overall, looking at the overall scope of the Blue Jays offseason, now they've added Max Scherzer, who will be a part of their rotation. It looks like there's been talk of like bullpen talk, but I think he'll be in the rotation. What do you think about Toronto's offseason now?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it seems like the Blue Jays are in on everybody, right? They were in on Juan Soto. They were in on Corbin Burns. Sasaki. They didn't get any of those guys. They ended up getting Santander. They get a 40-year-old Scherzer. This one's interesting. The Blue Jays are just fascinating, right? It just feels like they are just disappointing every year. Like, they have a lot of good players, but can never really put it all together. You look at the rotation, with Gaussman, Berrios, Bassett. I mean, it's a solid rotation, but 40-year-old Scherzer is interesting, man. I mean, I think he can still give you some productive innings, but he's, you said it. He's got to stay healthy. I mean, I don't know what you're going to expect out of Scherzer. It's a $15 million deal for 1 year. Fascinating. Scherzer just feel like he played everywhere now at this point. Yeah. So I think for the Blue Jays, it's about hoping he stays healthy. Maybe you can get like one last hoorah out of Scherzer. I mean, I don't know how much longer he wants to play. He's a Hall of Fame level pitcher. But yes, if you can get a decent year out of him, I mean, look at Chris Sale. I know you may do a video on Chris Sale and Max Scherzer coming up. So that was an unselfish plug, by the way. And so yeah, I mean, looking at this deeper, like Chris Sale goes and wins a Cy Young last year at his age, right? Coming off the Tommy John. So Scherzer, can he stay healthy? Can he have like a big season this late in his career? We'll see.
I don't know. I did text you this question, but real quick. Potentially, who could have a bigger season? Could Jacob deGrom do the Chris Sale thing after many injury-prone years? Who has a better chance of having a bigger year? Is it Scherzer or is it Jacob deGrom? Scherzer at 40, but Randy Johnson won Cy Youngs. I know too well about Randy Johnson. You know what I mean? I'm the Randy Johnson guy.
I think it could be deGrom. I really do. I think deGrom.
I agree with you.
I think DeGrom, hopefully we're knocking on wood that he stays healthy. Yeah, I think he could have a really big bounce back year and do something, most people think he can't do. So
Yeah.
I'll go slight edge to DeGrom because I think people are counting him out. I mean, we did the same thing with Chris Sale. I mean, no one thought Chris Sale would win a Cy Young, right? So
Yeah, I was like, no
DeGrom,
way.
DeGrom has that talent level where he could. So, and Scherzer could too. So I'll give the slight edge to DeGrom, for sure.
Yeah, Braves might have won 75 games last year if it wasn't for Chris Sale.
Yep. Yeah.
Crazy to think
right.
about.
Not wrong.
Crazy to think about.
Not wrong about that.
Yeah. So, as far as the Blue Jays go, Nick, like I don't know. Like to me, they feel like a team that a lot has to go, like really go their way in order for them to make the playoffs, even as a wild card team. I don't think it's like impossible or anything. I think they have top to bottom, they do have talent. Like the top of their lineup is pretty good. I mean, Springer, Vladdy Jr., Santander, Bichette, Kirk's still there. Jimenez, I think, is an underrated bat. Like, I think lineup has potential. Rotation has potential too with Scherzer, but, guys are getting older, right? Gosman's 34. Barrios is getting into his 30s. Bassett's in his late 30s now. Scherzer's 40. Bowden Francis almost threw a couple no-hitters last year, I believe. Like, I don't know. Like, Francis might be somebody for them for the future. I like the Hoffman deal for them, but we'll see. They added I think was Chad Green already there? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on him. Chad Green was there. He was already there. I lied. Sorry about that. But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if Jeff Hoffman's going to necessarily make them like a top 5 bullpen in baseball or anything like that. I think like overall, the AL East has a chance to just be good overall. So like you never know with the Rays. Like I said, the Orioles, I think they're going to be good. I don't see the Orioles winning like 100 games or anything. I think there's question marks about the rotation and even their bullpen. I mean, I think there's question marks everywhere for them. I'm curious to see. Baltimore's going to be interesting because Baltimore seemed like they were going to be a contender for years to come, and now right now it's like, okay, probably a playoff team, but who knows? Yankees, I still think the Yankees are the favorite there in the division. But interesting for them even to make the playoffs. I don't know. I don't know. To me, Nick, it just feels like an 84 win team right now with Toronto.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, like 82, 83,
somewhere like
that range. I think that's very possible when it comes to the Blue Jays. They're just a team that, I mean, maybe they could overachieve, but they're just like one of your average teams could sneak in as like a third wild card.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, Phil's did it. Boys. Yeah, I mean, but
they don't feel like that though.
Because remember, I mean, you got guys you have to re-sign. Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette, right? Like, what's going to happen to those guys after the year? So that's something to watch out for too. I'm very curious. And going back to the Baltimore thing, I can't let anything Baltimore.
Right? Yeah, I know you want to cry about it. Go ahead.
They just I am very concerned about their pitching staff. Very concerned about the rotation, as well as the bullpen. I mean, they tried to get Jeff Hoffman, and then the whole thing happened with the shoulder, the injury, the physical. So that's kind of why that went awry. Now he's with your division rival. So I think there's a lot of question marks about the pitching of the Orioles. Listen, you're very confident in their bats, right? But what's that pitching staff going to look like? And can they finish off games? Are they going to have trouble in the bullpen again? Have to make 18 trades with the Philadelphia Phillies? That's something to watch out for. So, I'm very curious to see where Baltimore's pitching rotation is this spring.
Also, I have some breaking news. Huge breaking news. Huge. Enormous. Sabrina Carpenter has won the Grammy for Best Pop Album of the Year, as she should. Huge. Where are you going? Get the hell out of here. You go listen to Gracie Abrams? I love her, by the way. She's good, too. But Sabrina Carpenter has won the Grammy for the Best Pop Album. And, I do my tapmusic.net, my last FM week of my collage of music, and Sabrina's Short and Sweet was on there once again. And there's a reason, because it's Album of the Year. By the way, a lot of people not talking about it enough with the Super Bowl storylines. Sabrina, the local superstar versus T Swift, supposed to be an Eagles fan, but rooting for the Chiefs. Sabrina versus Taylor. It's a huge storyline. What are we doing? We're not talking about it. But congratulate the main thing here. I went off on 5 million different tangents there, as I always do. Congrats to Sabrina Carpenter on winning Pop Album of the Year. And it's a big deal, man. I'm seeing she's now a 2-time award winner. She just performed Espresso, of course, at the Grammys. So congrats to Sabrina. What are your thoughts?
I legitimately thought you had breaking news for me.
What are you talking about?
And I got excited because I was looking down at my phone. I'm like, I didn't get anything.
Oh, you think it was like Soto for Harper?
Yeah, I thought we had maybe a big major league
into existence.
And you drop a Sabrina Carpenter line on me. It's brutal. It's actually brutal. Yeah, I heard a rumor that she's gonna be with Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. She'll probably be a fraud just like T Swift is, and cheer for the Chiefs.
Well, she's getting. Wait, Sabrina's gonna be at the Super Bowl? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I saw something. I saw a report that she'll be in the box with that fraud T Swift.
Wait, with Taylor? Referral?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
That's brutal. I don't like that. I wanted her to be like, yo, you're not a real Eagles fan. You're in for the Chiefs.
No, I think she'll probably have a Chiefs jersey on too because they're both frauds.
She's not.
Gracie Abrams just blows her out of the water with her music. Just gonna leave that there.
I gotta listen to her more of her stuff. I don't have a take on Gracie Abrams too much yet because I haven't listened to enough of her stuff. But she's good. She's good.
Thanks for that. I'm sure everyone listening wanted to hear that.
Well, I mean, like it's local product. Even though we're more of a national show, but we're a local product. Look at your hat. I like how you're putting your hat down right now for people to see that as a local product. Sabrina Carpenter, Phillies. I like it. And you're wearing your bird shirt. Go Birds, baby. Go Birds. Okay.
Go Birds.
Okay. All right. So let's finish all the meat and potatoes talking about Paul Skenes. What about this, Nick? Like,
yeah. Thank God. Thank God.
I am curious about. Huh?
Make me happy, please.
Yes. I am curious to know what you would do if you attained a card like the Paul Skenes patch, right? It was a jersey patch, right?
Yeah, it was the MLB debut patch. Top started this a couple of years ago. When Fanatics took it over, this was one of their new initiatives, which I really actually am a fan of because I was nervous that Fanatics took over Topps and they were kind of taking over the whole card industry, right? And they want a monopoly on everything. So Topps started this when rookies in Major League Baseball start their careers, their first game ever. They all wear a patch on their jersey, and it says MLB debut. They then turn that little patch into a baseball card, and then it goes out, and you can open it in a pack. So this is Paul Skenes that we are referring to. Paul Skenes MLB debut patch card. There's only one in the world. It only exists once. You can't have multiple MLB debuts, right? So this is one pack, and an 11-year-old pulled this card out of a pack, which is crazy in Los Angeles.
So now, what would you have done? Would you have kept the card and I guess given it up for auction?
So I will share with you and the audience that this kind of happened to me before. I had pulled during COVID when I was in college a Jason Dominguez, the Martian, if you're not familiar, New York Yankees top prospect. A 1 out of 25 card. So it was an autograph card. There's only 25 of them in the world. It was like a certain type of card. It had like orange refractor around it. And I pulled this card out of luck. It was like 1 out of 25. And I did end up selling that card. So I did sell it. I got it graded, everything. The Paul Skenes, if I was able to pull that card, I think I would probably hold on to it for a little while. I would hold on to it for a little bit. I don't know how long, but I'd hold on to it at least for another year. Possibly. So that's where I would go with it. At least I want to see him get another year under his belt. Like if he won the Cy Young, value of the card would go up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would probably hold on to it for a little bit, even though he's probably going to get a lot of money. Because it's going to auction. The Pirates had offered him like a package, like season tickets for 30 years or whatever it may be. Something along those lines, and like autographs, all this stuff. And he declined. The dad and the son, they declined it, and it's going to go to auction. And he's going to get a handsome sum for it. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, look, the kid lives in California. I'd expect them to take the deal that the Pirates wanted to give him.
I wouldn't have taken the deal. I don't think anyone should have taken the deal. I'm not giving the card back to the Pirates. No way.
True, but I mean, if you're a big Pirates fan, maybe you want to go to the games and stuff. But he's not. He lives in California.
He would be able to go to any game he wants with how much he's going to sell it for.
Oh, I know. That's true. That's true. So yeah. So, any more thoughts on it? I mean, I think it's crazy.
What would you do if you had pulled that card out of the pack? What would you do with it?
It's a great question. So I would not have. I mean,
would you sell it right away? Would you have given it to the Pirates, or would you hold on to it for a little while?
I feel like I would have held on to it for a little while. And like that's just like such like a special thing. Like that's such a big deal.
And then there was controversy with it too. Like people were saying, there was collusion all day. Like it was BS. The New York Times did a great rundown on this in the Athletic. I think the kid literally just pulled it out of the pack. Now he didn't actually pull that card out of the pack. You had to redeem it because it was such a big like deal to have that card.
Right.
So that's when people were like, "Oh, well, who knows?" And then they didn't say anything. Like they wanted anonymity to be anonymous. Like they don't want people knowing.
Yeah, because they don't want people harassing them. Yeah.
So then that's when the conspiracy started about it, and I'm like, it's just ridiculous. Like I wouldn't want people knowing who I was. Like if I were like was in doing this job.
It's like
I don't want people to know
or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of those type of cards where you go redeem like if it's an autograph. I've had a Ha-Sung Kim autograph from Padres. Like I had to go like online and redeem it, and then they sent it to me, etc. So, because of how special and like so how much press this card is getting, like I think it's good for the kid. Like I did the same thing when I pulled that Jason Dominguez card, very valuable card. Out of the pack, like I literally went to a card store, bought the last pack, and it was like 12 cards. So I believe it. Like if you've been in the hobby, and I'm trying to get back into it, but like I believe he actually pulled that card.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Nah, it was a really interesting story. I think it was cool to see Skenes go on late night with Seth Meyers.
He needs he needs I don't know, like an energy drink or something, man. He is.
I know he's very. He talked about and Seth. Shout out to Seth Meyers. He did a good job. Yeah. He's great at what he does. But like they asked Skenes about like when he won Rookie of the Year and like how like Livy was like yeah, and Paul's just sitting there just like, yep, I won.
Bro has no personality. No personality.
I know it was rough watching. I've only watched the interview because it was Paul Skenes. Like, oh look, he's on late night, and then it was like the only thing that's getting me through this interview is that I like Paul Skenes, even though you don't think I like Paul Skenes. I like Paul Skenes. You know what I mean? So, but speaking of, we're going to go back to the MLB The Show cover. All right, Nick.
Okay.
I just think that. So, if anyone doesn't know, if you were listening to the beginning of the show, because we're live right now. Paul Skenes, Ellie De La Cruz, and Gunnar Henderson, who I think are all fantastic choices for the MLB The Show cover. All fantastic choices. All three are probably, the three young new faces of baseball. Maybe Bobby Witt Jr. probably right there too. And I think a lot of people were pissed off that Bobby Witt wasn't the cover, which I understand. Which I get. Like Bobby Witt is, right there he's the best shortstop in baseball right now. But Nick, I just don't think that. Yeah, I'm glad you're pulling it up. You probably already have a poster of it on your freaking bed or wherever you have it in your new place. You should have. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know, Nick. Like if you're doing the 20th anniversary, and I guess is that like the excuse for this? Like Didn't like 2K do like a cover with like Kobe or Jordan or something like that for like their 10th year anniversary or something like that? Like, have Big Papi on it. Big Papi was on the cover of the first one. Bring back Big Papi. Bring back like a legend or something like that. Have Babe Ruth.
No, you're dead. You're dead wrong. You are dead wrong.
Dead wrong. Go ahead. Talk.
Stop. You are dead wrong on this whole thing. I don't care. Anniversary, whatever. Here's the thing. Who's playing the game, Francisco? Younger kids, the younger generation. Many times have we come on this program and we have argued and bleeped and moaned. And the fact that you're complaining about this, we complain about marketing of players. This is a great way to market the next generation of young talent. Stop your complaining. This is
Why don't you have one guy?
Have all three. You're now putting all three of the minds in the young youth who are playing this game. I love it. These are great players. They're young players. They're the future of Major League Baseball. They deserve to be on the cover. This is very cool because now you can look back and say in 20 years, look at this. These players were all on the cover all at once. So you're dead wrong.
There's something.
You're absolutely hating on this.
There's something about, you can say whatever you want about that, but the hating part, whatever. There's something about one player being on the cover of like revealing, the one guy, like, Vladimir, when like Harper was on the cover in 19, like there's something about one guy being on the cover, being the cover athlete. There's something about that, and now we're gonna have like 7 guys. We're like, oh, look at that! It's gonna be like what's the TV show from like the 1910s? Not Bob the Builder. What the hell is it? The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. Where we're gonna have like 15 people on the cover. It's like, oh, look at this box here. This box here. It's gonna be Ellie, Skenes, Drew Jones, Justin Crawford. Oh, it's Andrew Painter too. Oh, look. It's Nick Earnshaw. Like, what are we doing, man? We don't need to have like 500 guys on the cover. We have a Brady Bunch cover the next time for MLB The Show.
It's 3 of the young stars. I think it was a fantastic cover. They finally got something right. I propped MLB and MLB The Show. I'm done.
That's fine. Look, at the end of the day, I'm at least.
Listen, I know you're up. I know you're getting up there in age. You don't recognize some of the new players. I get it. You're past 30 now. You're 30 and change now. So 30 in a month.
Hey, it is weird. And we discussed.
You're starting to forget things at this point.
Listen, it is weird. We talked about this last show in all seriousness. It is weird to like see these Hall of Fame ballots now, the ones that are coming out. It's like, oh, I grew up watching these guys play.
I know. Yeah.
Cole Hamels, Shin-Soo Choo, and
yep, it's wild. I feel like I was just playing. I feel like I was just playing MLB The Show with those guys, and now they're on the Hall of Fame ballot. Like, it's crazy.
All right, to end this real quick, do you still play MLB The Show?
Yes, I do. Like, I'm not a big video game guy, but like I'll occasionally play every once in a while. I did just get a PS5, so I do have.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so I do have MLB The Show. I do enjoy it. I will be buying this. It's a great. You brought up something great. I do need to get that cover like blown up and framed somewhere because it's a great cover.
You need it framed? Yeah. I can respect that just because like I know you love the Orioles, Reds, and Pirates. They're 3 of your favorite teams. I get it.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite teams.
I get ripped for the Randy Johnson jersey thing all day.
Oh, that's not the same. That's not the same. And by the way, you should be called out again because you're doing the same thing for the NFL in the Super Bowl. You're wearing a Patrick Mahomes shirt the week of the Eagles playing them. Like it's insane.
I go to sleep in it. I went to sleep in it.
You're doing
I didn't wear it out.
I don't know how you haven't learned from last time. How?
I wore it to sleep.
That's you shouldn't be telling people that. Like, you don't have to announce that to the world.
But I only did all right. The only reason why I brought it up was I didn't even bring it up. Someone at the radio station, a caller asked. He knows about the Randy Johnson. He's like, "Oh, you wearing a Chiefs jersey this week? Like, what Chiefs jersey do you own?" And I was honest. I was like, "I have my home jersey. Like, I have one and you were there when I bought it too, by the way."
I forgot about that too, and I was pretty disappointed. I was pretty disappointed.
KOP, remember that?
Yeah, I was there.
You were there. Just saying.
Watching this go down, and I feel like I should have done more to stop it, and I apologize. Apologize.
No, you were like, oh, yeah, I remember you were like, yeah, I would get it. It's the last medium. It was the last medium.
I don't think I would have been like, yeah, go ahead. That was when we first met too, so I was probably trying to be nice.
Yeah, you're trying to feel out our friendship and stuff like that. I get it, but
now I'll tell you you're a moron.
Right. You'll just say, you're just disrespectful. You're rude. All that. You're all types of off the wall here and there. It's out of hand, man. I'll put you in your place. But all right, well, so Beyonce, by the way, just before we end, Beyonce just got Best Country Album. I could care not at all. I care about Sabrina.
That's crazy that she won that, but
yeah, it is wild. That is wild. But again, congrats to Sabrina Carpenter, Best Pop Album of the Year, well deserved. It's the headline of the show. That's going to be the headline of today's show on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. That is how you plug the pod. Also on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Go watch the Billy Wagner video. What do you think? Are we just going to let Kenley Jansen, Craig Kimbrell, everybody, all these closers in the Hall of Fame now because Billy Wagner's in? No. Wagner was a special case. Go watch the video. I talked in it. That is it. Nick, any last words?
No, I just I can't wait to play you an MLB The Show on the best cover they've ever had. So that'll be.
You know what I'm gonna do? Because I don't really have. I have a PS4, but I don't play video games anymore. You're gonna buy the game, right?
Yes, of course. You're gonna come over and we'll play.
Yeah, I'm gonna come over. I'm gonna whoop your ass, and you're gonna have to. I don't know. We'll make some bet. Like,
all right.
If I lose,
we'll stream it too. I think we should stream it. We'll do that. Let's do a stream.
Definitely should. That'll be a shift episode.
Yes, definitely. 100%. We will do it when I get it.
Okay. I haven't played the show in like 2 years, and I'll still kick.
I haven't probably played in 6, 7, 8 months. So we're
okay.
And I barely.
Okay.
Yep. We'll play.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into the shift. This has been episode 77. Rob Manfred. Go make sure you tweet or definitely tweet us, but also vote. So do that. That was Nick. This is Fran. Sabrina winning Best Pop Album of the Year. Goodbye.